Hi, I'm Melanie Griffith. When I was a young girl, my mother brought home a cat, a really big cat. His name was Neil, and he was an African lion. You see, my mother is Tippi Hedren. She starred in Alfred Hitchcock's movie thriller The Birds. Mom loves lions. She cares so much about lions, she turned our California ranch into a lion preserve. We call it Shambala. It's tucked in the mountain canyons of Santa Clarita Valley, 40 miles north of LA. The name means a meeting place of peace and harmony for all beings, animal and human. Shambala was a very special place to grow up. I could look out of my window every morning and see lions roaming around.
We started Shambala about 1983, after we had done a film about the animal in the wild and the problems that they have out there. It's an action-adventure film that we titled Roar. It was very important to us to keep the animals here, because this had become their home. Our expertise has become in the various big cats, the lion, the tiger, both Siberian and Bengal, black and spotted leopard, American mountain lion, cheetah, we now have serval, and of course our 2 African elephants. Most of the animals here now are either excess zoo animals, excess animal park, private citizens who acquire this adorable, darling little animal. These are animals that need a great deal of understanding, a great deal of care. So Fish and Game call us, the Department of Agriculture, ASPCA, the Humane Society, all of them call us and say, can you take this animal? It is now in need of a home.
Growing up at Shambala, I learned a lot about how lions live, and I'd like to share some of that experience with you. Of all the sounds in nature, there's nothing more majestic than the roar of the lion. There's a saying in the East African language that when the lion roars, he is shouting, Nichi Yanani, Yangu, Yangu, Yangu. Whose land is this? This land is my land. Mine, mine, mine. What is it that fascinates us so about the lion? Maybe we've just been watching too many Tarzan movies. Or maybe it's because at one moment a lion looks so cuddly and sleepy, and the next moment he's a mighty predator ready to attack in one great leap. My mom likes to say, the lovable lion melts the heart, the raging beast terrifies the head. Hard to imagine, but this huge wild beast is really just a bigger version of Fluffy, the family cat. It's true. All cats, big or small, belong to the family known as felids. But it's the big cats that captivate the curiosity of all. The cheetah, they're the fastest animal on Earth. Cheetahs can reach speeds of 60 miles an hour. They share the African hunting ground with the lion. The leopard, they like hanging around in trees. Leopards live in more areas of the world than any of the other big cats. The puma, you can find pumas right here in the United States and clear down into South America. The tiger, their stripes make them easy to recognize. Tigers are the biggest of all cats. The Siberian tiger can weigh as much as 700 pounds. They prowl the mountains and river valleys of southern Asia. And of course, the mighty lion. He's the king of all wild animals. We'll learn more about him in a minute. But first, let's learn a little bit more about cats in general. All felids, big and small, belong to an even bigger family of over 200 species known as carnivores. Carnivores hunt and eat other animals for food. They're meat eaters. You can find them everywhere you look. Being a meat eater doesn't make you bad. Carnivores play a vital role in nature's circle of life. Without carnivores, plant-eating animals would go unchecked. And after a while, there would be so many of them, they'd eat the earth bare, leaving the world a lifeless desert. Today's lion have only been around for about 500 to 700,000 years. That makes them really just a baby on the evolutionary scale. To find a lion in the wild today, you'd have to jump on an airplane and travel to Africa. Hundreds of years ago, lions roamed all over Europe, Asia, India, and Africa. But today, lions live only in a small area of western India called the Gir Forest Preserve and 3 southern regions of Africa, the Kalahari, Nairobi, and the Serengeti. Of the lions in existence today, the vast majority live in the Serengeti region. In the Swahili language, the word Serengeti means grassland. No wonder so many lions have survived here. They have thousands of square miles of lion-colored grass to hide in. Of the 36 species of cats alive today, the lion is, in many ways, the most unique. Did you know that lions are the only cats with physical differences between the males and females? The male lions have long manes, and the female lionesses don't. You know how to tell a young male lion from an old one? Look at the mane. The older a lion gets, the darker his mane gets. On some older lions, the mane even turns black. Lions are also the only cats with furry tufts at the end of their tails. And maybe the biggest difference between lions and other cats is lions live in groups called prides. All other species of cats live and hunt alone. Lions live and hunt together. Like many cats, the male lion is bigger than the female. Full-grown male lions weigh 375 to 400 pounds. A few may even get as big as 500 pounds. Female lionesses weigh a little less, around 300 to 350 pounds. From head to tail, male lions are about 9 to 10 feet long, and females are about 7 to 8 feet long. Both stand about 3 feet high at the shoulder. Now, that's a lot of cat compared to Fluffy. Let's take a look at something a little more fluffy size, lion cubs. Once a lioness reaches the age of 3, she can give birth to a litter of cubs once every 2 years. That's because it takes a lioness about 2 years to get her cubs ready to live on their own without her help. She'll be pregnant for about 3.5 months and then give birth to a litter of up to 6 cubs. Each cub weighs 3 to 4 pounds. And since they're born with their eyes shut, cubs are totally dependent on their mother for the first week of life. Their eyes start out kind of a blue-gray and then turn amber after 4 weeks or so. The cubs will feed on their mother's milk for the first weeks. If another lioness in the pride is also raising newborns, she'll usually share her milk with a cub from another litter. Of course, there is a limit to a mother's patience. This is a dangerous time for the cubs, and the mother lions are careful to keep the newborn cubs safely hidden in the tall grass, away from hungry hyenas, leopards, cheetahs, and even other hungry lions. Those spots on the newborn cubs help camouflage them from predators. The spots will gradually disappear in a few months, though traces remain for over a year. After about 6 weeks, the cubs will start eating meat that the mother lion brings to them. And after about 6 months, the cubs are strong enough to come out and roam around with the pride. When I was 13, a young cub bit me. He was just playing around, but even at a few months old, their bite hurts like heck. Unfortunately, life in the wild can be hard and cruel. Within 1 year, 50% of the cubs will die of starvation and illness or fall prey to other animals. Survival of the fittest is nature's way of assuring a good balance between all the animals on Earth. If the cubs are lucky enough to reach adulthood at the age of 2, they could live a happy, content life for maybe 10 years. In captivity, where they can get treated for illness and injury, lions can live up to 20 years. As you can see, life in the pride is pretty laid back. Lions spend most of the hot daylight hours resting in a shady spot. This helps keep them from overheating in the hot African sun. Their normal body temperature is around 100.5 to 102.5 degrees. Just like people, cats, great and small, never seem to know what to do with their hands, or in this case, paws. Sometimes you can just tuck them under, a trait unique to domestic house cats. The great cats tend to stretch them out in front. Hanging your paws over the edge can be very relaxing. So can simply crossing them in front of you. Or, if all else fails, just let them hang at your side. Of course, paws, like hands, should be kept clean. And paws are great for keeping the fur smooth, clean, and shiny. Of course, while the adults are content to snooze the day away, kids will be kids. Actually, all this snarling, nipping, and pouncing serves a good purpose. It helps the young cubs practice the fighting skills they'll need as adults. The size of prides varies greatly, depending on how much food is available. Some prides are made up of 6 or 7 lions, while others can be as big as 30. The more food there is, the bigger the pride can be. All this lying around may appear very casual and undisciplined, but it only looks that way. The pride is really very structured, just like in your family. The dominant male lion controls the pride. He's like the dad. His job is to protect the pride and father the young. Most prides have several lionesses. They're usually related to each other as mothers and daughters and sisters. The oldest and strongest are second in command. It's the lioness's job to do most of the hunting and maintain the pride. By age 2, the young females and males are no longer cared for and fed by the pride. They increasingly have to fight to get their share of the food. Their mothers no longer protect them. If a young female does not shy away from the growls and slashing claws of the older lionesses, she'll probably be accepted into the pride as a full adult member. If she shows signs of weakness and runs from a fight, she'll be forced from the pride. The young males face the same treatment, but the result is always the same. They're eventually forced to leave before they grow strong enough to challenge the dominant male for control of the pride. These young males will lead nomadic lives, wandering throughout the territory. Sometimes they'll join up with other young male lions until they grow strong enough to fight another dominant male leader for control of a pride. This may seem like a cruel way to treat your kids, but like all things in nature, it serves a valuable purpose. By forcing the young males out of the pride, it prevents them from disturbing the stability of the pride. If a pride is to last, fight for food, and defend its territory, all its members must work together. The sun's setting on the horizon, and the lion's roar can be heard echoing across the grassy plains. Herds of wildebeest and zebra turn their heads toward the sound and nervously move about. After a long day of lounging around and resting, the pride is up and prowling. Their empty bellies growl, signaling the lion it's time to eat. Now, if you're one of the many prey of the lion, this isn't your favorite time of day. At sunset, the lion goes on the hunt. A pride's hunting territory can cover as much as 75 to 150 square miles. During the day, herds of wildebeest, antelope, deer, gazelle, zebra, buffalo, and giraffe have less to fear from the lion. Prides prefer to hunt during the cool hours of early evening and morning. Although lions are not above dining any time of day if an easy meal comes along. Watering holes are favorite hunting spots for the lion. During the day, the herds of zebra, wildebeest, and other grazing animals have been feeding on dry grass, and now thirsty and they need water. It's at this time, by the cover of darkness, that the lions have their best chance of catching their unsuspecting prey. But day or night, the lion's hunting methods are the same. The pride hunts as a group. They won't attack the whole herd. Instead, they try to separate a single animal. Their favorite targets are the very old, very young, or sick animals. Keep in mind that lions are slower than most of their prey. Deer, antelope, zebra, and wildebeest are very fast runners. It's how they survive. They run away from trouble. Adult lions, on the other hand, have no natural enemies. They don't need to run away from trouble. Before we see how lions hunt, let's go back to Shambala, my mother's lion preserve, and take a closer look at how they're built and why they act the way they do. Lions can be as playful and cute as any house cat, except that the lion is 100 times as powerful. The blue ball this lion is easily batting around is actually a 16-pound bowling ball. To a lion, playing with a bowling ball is like your cat chasing a ball of yarn. The cheetah shares the Serengeti with lions, but they are a very different great cat. Besides being the world's fastest runner, cheetah's claws do not retract, but cheetahs do purr, and purr very loudly. Just listen for a moment. Purring just like your own pet cat. Meet Wazoo, the real Lion King. Everything about Wazoo is regal. His long, elegant face, his magnificent mane, even his walk and gait were the model used by the Disney folks when they were creating the Lion King. After watching Wazoo for even a few minutes, you can see why, for thousands of years, the lion has been called the king of beasts, and why Wazoo is the real Lion King. See how big they look next to a human? I've stood next to a lot of big, strong lions, and I always feel so small and helpless.
The great cat in the wild, I'm sure, has the same kind of personality traits, and they can be very serious or very funny, or any number of personality traits that are interesting. One of them, of course, is the characteristics of the great cat is to be the predator, the hunter, and it is that animal who keeps herds of animals in absolute top physical shape. The great cat, the lion, the tiger, the leopard, all of them will go for the weaker of the herd. They will go for the young. They will go for any of the animals that are sick. Therefore, you will never ever see animals that are sick or old in the wild, because the predator will take them down. And we found that many, many times it's important for us to stay well and healthy. And we must be very, very careful to not run, not make ourselves prey. If we fall, we must get up very, very quickly, because any object or being that is lower than the height of this animal will be in danger, extreme danger. We have found that the animal will be afraid of large objects that come at them, that sort of thing. And there have been times when we have had to use that kind of situation in order to protect a human, when there has been that terrible trait of the possessiveness, because they are so single-minded that when they become possessive over anything, it's almost impossible to break through that barrier of what they are possessive over, whether it's their food, whether it's an object, another animal, that sort of thing. And that's when you can be in very, very grave danger.
Just look at those legs. Lions have short, muscular legs. They're built for power, not speed. It takes a lot of strength to pull down a full-grown zebra or wildebeest. Let's take a closer look at the lion's feet and claws. As you can see, a lion's paws are much larger than a man's hand. Like all cats, lions walk on their toes, 5 on the front paw, 4 on the back paw. The strong, sharp, curved claws help the lion catch and hold prey. Most of the time, the claws are drawn back into these sheaths of skin, even when they're running. Otherwise, the claws would get worn short and dull from pounding on the hard ground. But when the lion needs them for fighting, the claws spring out like deadly sharp knives. These rubbery pads absorb the shock of running and act like a muffler, so prey can't hear the lion's footsteps. Unlike us, all cats can rotate their wrists, perfect for fighting and climbing. A lion's other deadly weapon are its teeth. Like all cats, a lion has 30 teeth. These 4 large, sharp fangs at the corners of the mouth are called canines. They're specially designed to bite through the tough hide and flesh of animals like scissors. They're for fighting and killing, not eating. This row of small incisor teeth in the front of the mouth are perfect for gnawing on bones. These are also the teeth lionesses use for carrying young cubs to shelter. The molar teeth along the cheeks do most of the work at supper time. They tear chunks of meat off, which the lion swallows whole without chewing. Strong acids in the lion's stomach do most of the digestive work. Notice lions, like all cats, bite and eat with the side of their mouth. They can only use one side of the mouth at a time because of the way their jaw is made. Lions can't move it from side to side like we can. Ever feel a cat's tongue? It's not soft like a dog's tongue. A cat's tongue is rough and bumpy like sandpaper. The sharp bumps, known as papillae, point backwards on the tongue. So when a lion licks a bone, the sharp bumps strip the meat off like a razor. The rough tongue also makes a pretty good brush for grooming the lion's fur. Even the whiskers play a vital role in hunting. They act like a blind person's cane, helping lions feel their way when stalking prey at dark. Lions rely upon sight and hearing more than smell. Although they have an excellent sense of smell, much better than ours, they really don't need it for hunting. Their sense of smell is used more for mating and marking their territory. During the mating season, the female lion's urine gives off a distinct scent that is smelled by the male lion. He'll open his mouth, bare his teeth, and wrinkle his nose into a snarl, but he's really just trying to get a good whiff of the female's mating scent. This behavior is called flemening. Lions use their urine to mark their territory, just like a dog. They'll urinate on rocks, trees, fences, anything that happens to be handy, including people. That's a lesson I learned at Shambala. If a lion raises his tail like a flagpole and points it in your direction, run. The next time the lion pride passes the rock or tree sprayed, they'll know that this land belongs to their pride. The smell of one lion's urine is also a warning for other lions to keep out. Keen eyesight and the ability to hear a pin drop is more important when hunting prey. All cats have great eyesight. That's because they have larger pupils. And the larger the pupil, the less light the eye needs to see with. So at night, when there isn't much light, lions can see to move around when other animals can't. If we had ears like this, we'd be able to hear good too. A cat's hearing is so much better than ours. Lions can even hear the high-pitched squeaks of mice speaking to each other. Back in the wilds of Africa, the lions are busy with their hunt. They've spotted their prey and separated it from the herd. It's necessary for lions to get very close before they attack. Their lack of speed is one reason why lions hunt in groups. The lionesses flatten out close to the ground, slowly creeping forward, stalking the prey from behind. Then at the last moment, the lioness springs with amazing quickness. Lions aren't long-distance runners, but they're pretty good sprinters up to the length of 2 football fields. After the kill, the animal is eaten right on the spot or dragged to a safer or cooler spot. Lions are very strong. One lion can easily drag a 600-pound zebra hundreds of feet. It'd take about 20 kids to do that. Guess who's the first one to eat? Yep, the big guy, king of the pride. He'll do little of the work and most of the eating. In fact, males take part in the hunt only 12% of the time. They'll eat 75 pounds of meat in one meal. I think this is where the saying, lion's share, got started. A lion only needs 15 to 20 pounds of meat each day, but since they often go several days without eating, when they get the chance, they gorge themselves, eating a whole week's supply in one sitting. The first thing they eat is the stomach. A grazing animal's stomach is filled with all kinds of grasses, so even though lions aren't vegetarians, they still get all the vitamins and nutrients they need without actually grazing. In the pride, everyone takes his or her turn to feed. If you're too shy or timid, you'll probably starve. After feeding, the pride will rest in the vicinity of the kill for several days. They'll lick the food from their mouths and paws to keep the flies away. Life is good. Their bellies are full, and they may not feed for several more days, unless, of course, an easy meal comes along. But for now, there's plenty of time for the important things in life. Grooming, playing, and, of course, resting. Life, death, and rebirth. The never-ending circle of life repeats itself for the lion and for all of nature's wild animals. Lions make wonderful families. The whole pride protects and cares for the young cubs. Yes, only the strong survive, but lions do care for each member of the pride, and lions ensure that the pride will survive. It is up to each of us to see to it that lions and all the great cats survive and thrive on this planet Earth that we all share.